Good morning, and welcome to Today in L.A. My name's Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, my friend.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is the second day of December, and old Santa Claus is getting ready. And I love football season, but it's hard to beat Christmas. I tell you, I love Christmas,
Especially like me, if you've
and
got
all the music and all the gala that goes with it.
if you've got a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Oh yeah.
You get to see it through their eyes.
Yeah.
That's
You
beautiful.
know Jackson getting ready, you reckon?
He's ready. Trust me.
We need to get him a horse to put out there out there next to your house.
In the Webb's yard.
Yeah.
The college used to have some donkeys. Remember?
Oh, yeah, they sure did, and for years. And they said they kept the coyotes away, and I've heard that to this day that.
Really?
Correct me if I'm out there wrong.
Right.
Out there, Billy. I think that
Donkeys
keep them away. You know.
Well, that tells me that there would have been coyotes in my neighborhood.
That's right. It must have been. Well, they didn't mess with those donkeys, I'll tell you that.
I know one thing we have in my neighborhood, but I think it's in every neighborhood in Troy. Is deer. Lots and lots of deer come up and they sunbathe in my backyard. They just plump down and.
Is that what they do?
And take a little rest, and I talk to them, and they're not scared of me at all anymore.
About the same way my
your yard.
Gosh, I tell you, I like them. Don't be shooting a deer in my yards, but
no, teaching them out.
On the highway, we need to get them off the highway. I'll tell you that, because they're gonna kill somebody if you don't.
You know, the body shop people could tell us how many cars they repaired that have been hit by deer. I bet it's a big number.
I know it. I would like to know that. You're right.
I was in one. I bet a lot of people have had this experience. Wes Gaylord and I were coming back to Montgomery from Troy, and a deer ran across and tried to jump over his little car and didn't make it. And man, that was scary.
I bet it was. Of course, we're going to talk about Kelly's big deal with college football, and got a lot of information to talk to you about then. Of course, who's number one? Of course, Georgia and Alabama could decide that this weekend, and this weekend in Atlanta. I've been to this game over here before. It is a lot of fun. It's brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Yep.
And they throw a party that you would not believe. And if you ever get a chance to go to see them party about their favorite thing, Dr. Pepper.
They have sponsored college football for a while. It's good. It makes me buy Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
I like their commercials where they had the concession seller in the bleachers better. I wish they wouldn't have retired him. I can't remember his name, Larry or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
They had those coaching shorts and.
Yeah. But
they're still pretty good.
Also, you folks going over too, Saturday morning is the big Atlanta Christmas parade too. That adds to it, you know. Go watch the parade and get you some hot coffee or hot chocolate and go watch the parade out of your hotel room.
Let me tell you the story. I went to one. Gosh, it might have been one of the first ones in Atlanta. I'll tell you when it was. It was Jay Barker's senior year. I think Alabama was undefeated, played Florida.
Yeah.
Alabama could have won a national championship that year. Great game. Georgia came back late and won, 24-21 or something like that. So it was a lot of fun. But I remember the Atlanta press. You know, Alabama has history with them.
Yeah, that's right.
Going back to Furman Bisher and Coach Bryant.
Yeah, that's right.
So I drive over to the game and stay with my friend Charles Bradshaw, who was living there at the time. Big weekend, a lot of fun. And the Atlanta Constitution has this big front page picture on the front page of the paper. It says, "Bama fans roll in." And it's the biggest redneck fans you've ever seen in your life. It's like they found them out of the movie Deliverance. They were not. I mean, I'm sure they're great people, and I don't want to seem like a snob, but they were not your typical Alabama fan that had come into Atlanta for that weekend.
That's right.
And I guarantee you, the editors that picked that paper, they were having a little fun.
I bet they were. I bet they were. Of course, it's a big time of the year for Atlanta, and boy, I tell you, it doesn't get any bigger than this. And as we get ready for that big game between Alabama and Georgia, and everybody just knows Alabama's going to get beat. Oh, they're going to get slaughtered. They're going to get slaughtered.
Kind of like it, don't you?
Yeah. Now, one guy they got to worry about a little bit is that 380-pound nose, about 380 or what is he? 360, 380.
He's big as the proverbial Coke machine.
And he runs like a deer.
Yeah.
The thing about it, that's what's so scary. He can outrun most of the running backs.
You know, I saw a picture of him standing next to another Georgia defensive lineman, and he's big. He's 305 pounds.
That's right, yeah.
And this guy just dwarfs that.
Let me just say this. The person I feel sorry for is not one Alabama center, but all three Alabama centers that have got to snap the ball, because he's going to come head over him every play. I'm going to hit him in the head. I'll just say this. It's going to be a nightmare for
and whoever their
Alabama
left
guard.
defensive end is, and whoever their safeties and linebackers are who blitz, they are going to have a field day on whoever Alabama puts at right tackle, because they're going to blow right by them.
Yeah. And of course, also at the same time, we've got number 31 that's going to run through and around their guys. So we've got some good players, but nobody more intimidating than Jones, their great nose guard.
You know what, Mike? Jones, and Will Anderson, they're getting serious Heisman Trophy.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility to say Will Anderson, Alabama upsets Georgia, has 3 sacks, a great game, wins the Heisman Trophy over his teammate, Bryce. And I like old Will Anderson. They say he is a strong character, good kid. You know, he embodies everything right.
They say he reminds them of the great linebacker. You know who the great linebacker was, don't you?
Derek Thomas?
Derek Thomas.
Yeah,
they say they really, you know, the thing he is that makes him great, and of course, you know, that's what the all-time great ones would do. They play him on one side, and then they play him on the other side. And then Georgia or whoever the team was, they said, "Well, where's this guy coming from?" Then he'd stop halfway and go through the center spot. I mean, he was so good, and that's the way we've got this guy, our guy, playing right now. They don't know which side he's going to be on.
I don't think he's not as good a pass rusher as Derek Thomas, but he's better against the run than Derek Thomas. Yeah,
boy, and I tell you what, he's going to have his hands full, and of course the entire Alabama offensive line is going to really have their eyes open every minute, or they're going to get run by, don't you think?
Well, I guess we only have 2 more days, so we might as well start breaking the game down. It would be quite a story if Alabama beat Georgia. Yeah. You know what really hurt Alabama in retrospect was losing to Texas A&M, because I think if they hadn't, Alabama could have lost to Georgia and still made the playoff. Right. But I think this game, ladies and gentlemen, is for the national championship. Alabama or Georgia would beat Michigan or Cincinnati or Oklahoma State, don't you think?
Yes, I think that. But at the same time, Michigan is big and physical. Boy, their linemen are big like Georgia's. You know, they're more physical than, say, Cincinnati is, and say Cincinnati goes in, and they're still. And you know who's looking in right now is Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
You know, they're still not out of it.
They're not, no.
You know, and of course we'll wait and see. But the way I look at it, Rice, and some people will argue with me, but if Georgia beats Alabama, Alabama's out of it. I think they're completely.
You know,
out of it.
I think that's in the tea leaves. That everybody is saying that, so it'll happen. But picture Alabama loses in overtime and outplays Georgia. Yeah. And then Cincinnati loses, and then Oklahoma State loses, and then Michigan loses. Then you're left with all these teams that are they're not going to have better resumes than Alabama. But I still think that you're right, that they're not going to let Alabama in. But I would still say there's one scenario where Alabama could lose and would have a strong case to be one of the best 4 teams.
Yeah. Now, Michigan does not have a game. Is that right?
No, they play Iowa in the Big Ten championship.
Wait a minute. They play Iowa. Wait a minute. They play Iowa, which they should win.
Iowa has the world's worst offense, but
and they should win. So keep Michigan in there, and if Georgia wins, of course they're going to stay in there.
And Cincinnati should beat Houston, but I wouldn't be totally surprised if Houston beat Cincinnati.
But and you're right, that's going to be a huge game, and I think the winner of that game, I'm not saying Houston's going to go in, but they're going to sure be talked to about. But what if they go ahead and blow Cincinnati out?
Houston get in.
But Oklahoma State has a real good defense, and they beat Oklahoma. And who will they be playing? It's them that don't have.
They're playing Baylor.
All right, Baylor. Okay. Which conference is it out there that doesn't have a game? One conference that we know about that does not have a.
No, they all have games now. I think.
Well,
Notre Dame doesn't have a game.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, Notre Dame, number 6, does not have a game, which that can help you, or I guess it could hurt you, because if you looked good in your playoff game, that might help you.
Of course, those of you that did not get out to see the basketball game last night.
How did we do?
Well, we won big, and I went to bed actually before it was over, because you had the girls' game and the boys' game, and the girls won and the boys won, but I don't have a score on that. But
Play Russ College, some school I've never even heard of.
Yeah, that's right. And Troy now prepares for a pretty good game. It's on Sunday against Southeast Louisiana. They're pretty good.
That's one I want to go to.
Me too. And it should be a pretty good one, no question about it. Of course, football is definitely in the air as far as the Atlanta airport. Somebody told me the Atlanta airport will have more people fly in this weekend than ever. They not only they fly in for the big football game, but they fly in for several other reasons.
Events. Guten Morgen.
Morning.
Hey man, they say that if you might be the highest rated football game in a long time this weekend, Mike. Georgia and Alabama.
I can see that. I mean, I'd like to go back to see what the ratings were for the Auburn-Alabama game.
We'll do it. You check it during the show. I haven't done that either. See what the peak ratings were in the fourth quarter.
I don't know. Rice was on TV Land, Channel 31, so we'll have to get the ratings from that.
He was. What was he doing?
Well, I wrote a little story.
Wrote an article about it.
I'm superstitious, and Alabama was getting whipped, and drastic times called for drastic measures, so I did not turn off the Alabama-Auburn game. I changed channels, and you know what channel I went to? Channel 31. Why did I go to Channel 31?
It was a cartoon channel.
No, it's Will Anderson's number that we just talked about.
Okay, yeah.
So I said, Will Anderson, I had faith in him that he would not quit, and that was symbolic. I said, all right, I'm going to stick on Will Anderson's number. And that just so happened to be TV land. So during the second half of the Iron Bowl, my TV was on Channel 31 TV land.
Yeah. Mike, we're going to get into this also today, the high school playoffs. And something I found real interesting is that Thompson of Alabaster, who is one of the great programs in America, they lost their quarterback last week, but they brought in their assistant or the backup quarterback, Zach Sims, and he threw 2 touchdown passes.
They coasted to the state championship.
That's right. They'll be.
They were up 28-0 last time I saw. What was the final?
About 38-10 or something like that.
All right. The peak audience for the Iron Bowl was 17.3 million people.
My gosh, amazing.
What was it now?
17.3 million people.
That means at one time, 17.3 million people were watching the Iron Bowl.
Let's give you perspective. The total population of the state of Alabama is 5 million. That includes people 100 years old to newborns. I mean, Alabama's had some highly rated games this year that were like 12 million or 13 million, but that is amazing. 17.
That is.
How about this? In Birmingham, Alabama, the average rating was 53.7. That means over half the population in Birmingham was watching
the game. Isn't it amazing?
That's the number of TV sets in use. That 53% of them in Birmingham were on that game.
Boy, oh boy, you call it a football state? That is a football state, isn't it?
You know, I made this point.
The average was 10.3 million throughout the game.
Here's what I made this point earlier. I like this little point because we're talking about what conference realignment and what's driving it all. Is ESPN and TV ratings are driving it all. But I read a sharp quote from somebody that said what the ESPN is looking for is they want to televise games that will average 4 million viewers. That's where they make big money. And so there you know, if you have 4 million, that's really, really good for a college football game. And then Alabama-Auburn had more than 4 times that.
Mike, I can't help but relate to what he was saying is, I mean, it's just remarkable the atmosphere that this game has brought, and how many times, and I want to throw something out to y'all. How many times do you think Alabama has been number one? I mean, how many times have they been rated number one?
A lot, but especially in the Saban era, it's a huge number.
Well, I'll tell you this: 167 out of the last 168 games. And guess who it was?
Oh, you're talking about favorite.
Yeah, the favorite.
Betting
favorite in the game. Yeah, the favorite in the game.
Yeah, Georgia's favorite.
Georgia was
the last one that Alabama was not favored.
Out of 167
amazing.
The times they were favorite, only one time in the last 167, Georgia's been number
good
one.
omen for Alabama. It's the last time they weren't favored. They won. That's when they won.
Here's what the bowl projections look like for the SEC. Of course, a lot can happen this weekend if Alabama beats Georgia. Right now in the Orange Bowl in the playoff, they'd have Georgia versus Oklahoma State. They think Oklahoma State will get in. Sugar Bowl would be Alabama versus Baylor. That's if Alabama loses. Peach Bowl would be Ole Miss versus Pittsburgh. Outback Bowl would be Kentucky versus Wisconsin. Citrus Bowl would be Texas A&M versus Iowa. Of course, Iowa could beat Michigan, and that could change. Gator Bowl, Arkansas versus Wake Forest. Texas Bowl, Mississippi State versus Kansas State. Music City Bowl, Tennessee versus Minnesota. Duke Mayo Bowl, that's one of my favorite bowls. I love Duke's Mayo. South Carolina versus Virginia. Liberty Bowl, this will be a cold game for Auburn fans. Auburn versus Texas Tech.
Yeah, it's always cold. You're right. It's always cold in the Liberty Bowl. Just dating back up.
The return of Gus Malzahn to Alabama, Birmingham Bowl, LSU versus UCF. Quick Lane Bowl, Missouri versus Eastern Michigan. And then this is upset written all over it. Cure Bowl, Florida versus Appalachian State.
Yeah, that's right. It sure does. Appalachian State's going to beat them. That will be good.
That'd be good for the Sun Belt to play a team like Florida. Yeah, those are interesting. So the main one, you said Alabama, if it doesn't make the playoffs, they have them slated to play Baylor in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
Sugar Bowl.
Oh, Baylor in the
Baylor in the Sugar Bowl.
Well, everybody likes a good trip to Bourbon Street.
But everybody says that Ole Miss really wants to go to the Sugar Bowl, so I don't know if I'll assume Alabama will still be ranked ahead of Ole Miss. They beat them head to head.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder though, how much pull the Sugar Bowl committee gets. I mean, they want fannies and people staying in those New Orleans hotels, and I bet you Ole Miss would send more because Alabama fans are tired of traveling.
Yeah, my wife and I are going to a wedding the week after New Year's Eve in New Orleans, and the cheapest rooms we could find were $200 a night. I mean, the rooms in New Orleans skyrocketed over the weekend, and you got to book 2 nights.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this: that's a good time to be down there. That's a fun time. I think, especially during bowl season and all that.
Best memories of Troy bowl games ever are definitely New Orleans.
No question about it.
I mean, to walk Bourbon Street and see just Troy fans everywhere wearing Troy gear was like something you just never thought you'd see in life.
And another thing, I remember so well. It looked so big time when we got our trophy and had that trophy. It looked like the same way. It's the way they did it when people won the national championship with Larry Blakeney. Larry Blakeney, bless his heart, and he's not doing well as he would like. He was quite an addition to all that they're looking around for all these coaches and coaches and coaches. I can remember our guys went with Larry Blakeney, and 30 years later, was it 30 or 25 years?
25.
25 years later, what a experience it was to be alongside of Larry Blakeney at a football game.
Well, we were lucky to get Coach Blakeney, and he stayed for those 25 years, and most of them were really good. And then
and I tell you what, I hope
Coach Riddle and Coach Maestri and Coach Felix.
Oh, yeah.
I've been very blessed.
And something coming up with the celebration of the 2000
258-point game.
The 258 to 177 game.
I hope everybody goes to that game, and I bet they try to invite all the former players.
I wish there was some way they could, in that beautiful new arena, that they could show that game again. Wouldn't that be fun? I'd pay. That'd be a great fundraiser. That would be a great fundraiser.
I hope TSU TV still. Surely they did not delete that film, but you're right. That is valuable footage right there.
And you know something about it. You could sell it in Montgomery, Dothan,
I'd like to watch it again.
Atlanta, or whatever. People would love to come say, I've been hearing about this all these years. Now I want to wait and see. I'm gonna watch it and see where they get that 258 points.
I was the sports editor of the Troy Messenger, so that was the big story. Troy basketball back then, and man, I was there. But I tell you, I took too many pictures, and so I knew that we might hit 200 points, and so I needed to get a shot of the scoreboard, and I did, but I ran out of film. I had to go back to the Messenger in the middle of the game and get some more film.
Did you really?
But the scoreboard didn't go above 200, so the scoreboard never said 258. It said 58.
You got a call this morning.
Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. You're on Today in L.A.
Bill, this is Will Matthews. What are you up to this morning?
Hey, Will, what you up to? I was talking about the reunion of the Troy basketball team that scored 258 points in, 1992 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
That was May.
Troy is
91.
Yeah. Troy's women won last night against Stanford, 65-61. That was a big win. Troy's schedule this year, women's basketball has been incredible. They just got back from Missouri, which they lost by 13. Played at Cameron Indoor Arena. Played Duke, got beat by 16.
Yeah,
but now they're about to get on the road and go to Wake Forest and play.
Golly, that is something. And quit playing at Duke. Did they play pretty well?
They got beat by 16, but
do they play in the same arena? Do they play in the same arena the men play in?
Yeah, that's all they have there. Cameron Indoor. Yeah.
Well, that was an experience for those girls. Yeah.
Mike, let me ask you a question. How would somebody pick up this show on the internet or Facebook?
TC2.
What now?
TC2.
But you did tc2.com, or how do you do it?
I always just type in TC2 and it pops up.
All right, TC2.
As in Tango Charlie 2.
Okay.
Or like in Tom and Apple and
That's short for Troy. That's short for Troy Cable, and then the 2 comes in there because on the cable system we're on channel 2.
Yeah. I got you.
And of course, people.
And people do watch it all over the world.
They sure do.
On Facebook.
Troy got some of the rust off last night. Beat Rust last night by about 40 points.
How bad was that?
81-48.
Did you? I sat back down in my recliner and didn't even think about it. Yeah,
I've never heard of Rust College.
Yeah. Well, they got a big one coming up this Sunday against a pretty good South.
What time is that game? We need to go to that game.
I've got an extra ticket.
That DeVry game where Troy scored 258. It was a Sunday afternoon game.
And I want to say it was snowing outside.
And there was snow. I don't think it was snowing, but I think it snowed the day before or that morning because there was a little snow on the ground. That's correct.
Yeah, and
there must have been absolutely no defense played in that game.
No.
Not really. You know, they made. I keep telling this. What they did, they made 51 or 61 3-pointers. It was something like that. 51 3-pointers. And that right there took care of 150 points.
I did some good stories after the game, and I think there were 51. I think Troy was 51 of 108 on 3-pointers. So they hit about 50% of their 3-pointers, which isn't easy against air. And then they had most of their other buckets came on slam dunks. There were only like 8 field goals that were 2-point field goals.
They had
well, I mean, so all the other 2-point field goals were slam dunks.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And of course, you know, the other team scored 150. Wait a minute.
141 or something.
Yeah, something like that. And they had a guy that scored 51 points. So
Troy wanted them to score. Troy wanted them to shoot as fast as possible. Everything was speed. I mean, when that ball tipped off. Now this was a DeVry team that had about 9 players, which was a computer school in Metro Atlanta. But it was like Troy was getting ready to run the 100-meter finals for the gold medal of the Olympics. That's how keyed in they were, that they were going to get 200 points. It was a track meet, and they started off cold. They were tight, and they were missing. But I think about 5 minutes in, man, they started hitting, and when you watch that team start hitting, it was contagious, and it would be hit, go back, steal, or get the ball back, come back. They would throw the ball from underneath the basket back outside so somebody could get a 3, and you would hit 3-pointers, boom, 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 like machine guns.
I think the record was coming into the game 189 points made by one Troy State University.
The year before against the same.
Mike, does that record still stand?
Yes, sir. It still stands. Now, you know what? Listen, I didn't even touch it.
That's a sign there, Mike.
Coming on over there.
What is that? That's creepy.
He starts coming on. I don't know what he's coming on for, but...
Michael, you need to get your notepad ready because the picks are silent this week.
Well, that's going to be fun.
Are you going to do them today or tomorrow?
No, we can do them today.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let me tell you about what happened. Here we are. We're talking about the 258 game. We have our little Big Al and Albie over there on the set, on the countertop. And all of a sudden, Mike doesn't touch it. Big Al just comes on and starts singing Yay, Alabama.
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary.
I mean, is that a sign if you're talking about your bets? And maybe you should change your bet to Alabama?
But, and you know, this 258 some real good talk. I tell you what, because I know the officials that were in that game, and they said it was just running up down the court. You know, and they were hitting, like you wouldn't believe. All right, Will, tell us about it, man.
Will, where are your picks from last week? Did I send them to you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you did.
I'll have to find them.
Well, I think you were 7-5 by one count, or 7-6-1 by another, but that's pretty good.
Really, and what's bad, I changed 2 of them.
I do that.
And they were wrong?
No, he was right.
No, they were right. I changed them. They were wrong. Yeah. And when I changed them, they were right.
Well, I tell you what, I'm real interested because this is against the spread, and you've been really tearing it up. You really have.
Yeah. Now this week, I had to do this because there's a pro game tonight, and it's New Orleans and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
You would think New Orleans doesn't have a chance. I mean, they're playing horrible. But I'm going with New Orleans plus 5 points at home against the Dallas Cowboys.
They're going to play. Hill's going to be back at quarterback, so that's just.
They're going to play Taysom Hill tonight. They're going to try that. You know, it may be a disaster. It may work. Who knows?
All right, you got New Orleans plus the 5. All right.
All right, the next one is Michael's team, the UT San Antonio Roadrunners.
Yeah, that's right.
They're playing the Hilltoppers.
Yep.
I'm going with them plus 3.
Wait a minute now. Kentucky, Western Kentucky has been real.
West Kentucky's won 7 in a row.
They're good.
They played the regular season. They played the regular season. Texas San Antonio beat them 52-46. Ought to be a shootout.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know what the over/under is in that game, but I think over is going to be a cinch.
All right, who you take now to win the game?
UTSA.
All right, okay.
To win the game.
That's
All right, the next one. Michael disagrees with me on this one, but I think this is one of my best ones I've seen. I don't know how long. Oregon plus 3 against Utah. I think Oregon doesn't have a chance. They got waxed by Utah a couple, 3 weeks ago.
Where'd they play that game, though?
It was in Utah.
Santa Clara is this game.
All right, they played in Santa Clara.
49ers play.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay?
All right.
The next one. I'm predicting all kind of chaos is going to happen Saturday. I like Baylor against Oklahoma State, and I think they're going to win the game outright.
Baylor's going to win the game. Baylor is going to win the game, ladies and
They're
gentlemen.
getting 5.5. They're getting 5.5, which is the guilt. I'll take that. Okay?
Yeah.
Then in the MAC, I love the MAC. I've been tearing up the MAC this year. But y'all never get my MAC picked because they always play on Tuesday and Wednesday night. So I've been tearing up.
It's hard to pick the MAC.
I love the MAC. What you do, you take the team you think is going to lose, and they usually win.
All right. You're going to take Kent State, then, is that right?
You got Kent State against Northern Illinois. You would think Northern Illinois will kill Kent State. I'm going with Kent State plus 3.
I like Kent State in that game.
Kent State's the favorite, Will. Minus 3.5.
Oh, that's why I'm taking Kent State minus 3. I'm sorry, I told you wrong.
They're a real high scoring. They're a real high scoring team. Kent State is.
Yeah.
That way all year.
Nick Saban's alma mater.
That's right. Now y'all love Lafayette. I know you do. I'm going with App State on the road to beat them. Minus 3.
They've been playing better at the end of the year. I agree.
Yeah, you got to remember, App State played at Lafayette earlier this year and got beat 40-7.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
that's why I love them.
How many points you gonna get?
App State's the favorite now because of Napier's going to coach.
He is.
He better after.
Napier's coaching. All right, now.
How in the world is that line? How in the world is that line that way? Just because the coach took another job and they beat the team by 30 points earlier, and they're the favorite? That is a weird line.
They're begging you. They're saying, here's the money. We're begging you to bet on Lafayette. There's no way they're going to lose. Well, you know what happens is they always lose. You know, it's reverse psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right. Cincinnati's favored over Houston by 11.
Oh,
if you're taking Houston.
Gosh,
bum. Houston. That's going to be a nail-biter. Houston, they win the game.
You're talking about the craziest bet I've seen all year. They won the last 9 straight. Houston's won the last 9 straight, and they beat people bad. I know it.
You can't tell me that Houston doesn't have athletes as good as Cincinnati.
I'm going to tell you, Houston's got a good coach. They've got that Dana Holgerson.
Yeah, that's right.
Coach.
From West Virginia.
They got Marcus Jones from Enterprise that used to play at Troy as their most explosive player.
Yeah, I like Houston. I think Houston could pull the upset.
You know how some people used to say.
Do you think bet the house on Houston in that game? That is one of the stranger ones I've seen.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This is a fair remark. They've got the wrong team favored.
No.
Right team favored.
I figured it'd be more around 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I think Houston will win the football game. I really do.
I'm like y'all. I like
Where are they playing that game? Where are they playing the game?
at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati.
Oh, they are.
Oh, well, that makes a difference.
That makes a little difference, yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit.
plus, it's gonna be really cold, and those Houston boys aren't gonna like that. So that does make a difference.
Yeah, the Sun Belt and the American Athletic Conference still play at their actual home field.
All right, you got more? You got more, Will?
Oh, yeah. We're just getting started.
Oh, okay.
NCC championship game.
CBS, what time? 3 o'clock?
There's no way Alabama can beat Georgia. No way.
Nah, I disagree with you. I really
Give me
do.
Alabama in 6.5. I'm taking the points, and I think they may win the game. In fact, I think Georgia's going to choke.
That's where I'm looking.
Georgia's got nothing to play for Saturday. Nothing. They're in the playoffs regardless.
Now, I disagree with y'all there. Georgia is so tired of hearing about choking games to Alabama being on top and them not being able to get past Alabama. This game to Georgia is bigger than the national championship game. And like you say, that's a lot of pressure. But boy, they are so hungry to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
They've lost 6 in a row to Alabama.
I think, if Alabama can come up with some kind of running game, if they can come up with some kind of running game, they got a chance.
They ain't going to come up with something.
A lot of people
Alabama will throw the ball 60 to 70 times.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You know who's Bryce Young is pretty good if he wants to get the ball out of his hand fast, but you know who the master of that is when he's on is Tua Tagovailoa. Do y'all remember? And he is doing it with the Dolphins now, and the Dolphins have turned their season around. And I watched some of the pundits on one of these NFL networks talking about it, and you know what they said why they were doing it? They said Tua is getting rid of the ball so fast. He doesn't have a good offensive line. He has to.
That's right.
He doesn't have real good.
They won 4 in a row.
I know. You can't run long pass routes because you don't have enough time to throw it. So the key is you get the ball and you throw it, and Tua is pretty good at that. And Bryce Young's got to do the exact same thing against Georgia.
I tell you what.
If you roll him out to Evan Neal's side, one side of the offensive line is pretty good. The other side is what's so bad.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Alabama might do something they never do. You might see some trickeration in this game. You might finally see some trick plays on Alabama.
Yep.
Saban's going to try to steal a possession or two.
Yeah, you're right.
Write it down.
You need a block
And
punt.
it would be very important to keep the ball away from Georgia.
A punt return would help, but our punt returner got hurt earlier in the year that could break one. Now you just the guy we got back there is not going to break a punt return.
Do y'all remember the first national championship game that Alabama Saban coached?
Yes, of course, against Texas.
2009.
And it was in Pasadena.
That's right.
They were playing the Texas Longhorns. Texas was ahead 3-0. Alabama was on their own 20-yard line, 4th down, fixing the punt. They faked the punt on their own 20-yard line and didn't get it.
Right.
And, I mean, everybody was just kind of holding their breath. I was there. I couldn't believe it. He faked the punt. But what he did, they didn't get it. But he told his defense right then, he gave them a message. He said, I'm going to see how if y'all can blow up and whatever. And they held them to a field goal. And then Alabama blitzed them the rest of the game.
But, well, you left out the biggest part. Marcel Darius knocked out Colt McCoy for the game.
Yeah, had a lot to do with
it. Texas fans still run their mouth that they should have won the national championship because if Colt McCoy would have played, they would have beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
They would not have.
But that was a great game. All right, Will, you've got Alabama plus the 6.
We just get
And like I just said, now listen, out of 160, Alabama has been the favorite 167 out of 168 games. Can you believe it?
I know, that's amazing.
Going into this.
That's
I
got to be
wonder
the
what games they were underdogs. Probably
It was a Georgia game. It was a Georgia game.
It was
they
the-
won by like.
And that's right.
It was the blackout game.
Georgia 2015 was the last time they were not the favorite.
And Georgia was a 1-point favorite,
Alabama would be favored against every single team left in the top 6 of the playoffs, except Georgia.
Yeah.
Is that what you read somewhere?
Well, you know, I tell you.
What, they're acting like Michigan is the greatest program in the history. That they've lost 8 straight to Ohio State. They beat them one time.
But I'll tell you something I've noticed.
You nationally, how much Alabama hated. They give the SEC no respect.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this.
The Big Ten is the greatest conference ever.
I think there are 3 real hard-nosed teams out there in college football, and one of them's Georgia, one of them's Alabama, and the other one's Michigan. I think Michigan is strong physically. They're stronger than they've ever been physically.
You know, but they play a game that is Alabama likes to see. They don't have a dynamic quarterback or a passing game that can run. Alabama can play against a Michigan-type team. Alabama can probably play against a Georgia-type offense.
And let me tell you this: the Georgia quarterback, I feel like what's the old coach?
Thurston Howell III.
What's the old coach that's on game day all the time?
Corso?
Yeah, I feel like I feel a little bit like Corso. But I'll tell you this: the
Georgia quarterback.
Yeah, the Georgia quarterback has yet to play in a game like this. I don't believe he's ever seen a game like this.
I'm a defender of that kid. I think he is. He's mentally tough, and he'll be. And he can run the ball. That's what scares me. That he's a sneaky good runner.
Remember what I said. Alabama's quarterback, all right, plus or minus. Would you rather have Georgia's quarterback, or would you rather have Alabama's quarterback?
Well, that's
Bryce Young is the best quarterback in the country.
All right, well, let me tell you this. That's a big plus. How many times did I tell you you better have a great quarterback if you expect to win a national championship?
Would you rather have Stetson Bennett or Paul Tyson, though?
You think they're going to knock him out?
They could. You never know.
I think they really could, and he's going to get hit a lot of times. And the sad thing about it is that he's not real physical. He weighs 184 pounds, and that's not big. I think Tyson Bennett weighs 240, doesn't he? Something like that.
Mark Tyson's son?
Not Tyson Bennett, but the Georgia quarterback. He's a big quarterback.
Stetson, no, he's about 5'10", 190.
Like 5'10", 5'11".
Well, is the other quarterback that's so big? One of them.
J.T. Daniels is like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he's a big guy. You know.
Stetson Bennett, though, if you watch him, he's good with play action. He's accurate. He can run when he needs to. He's fast.
All right, well,
I'll tell you the fact.
All right. This is a good one now. I got Pittsburgh -3 against Wake Forest in the ACC game.
Oh boy, I like Wake Forest. I
love
Wake Forest.
Also,
2 quarterbacks.
yeah. Also, I like the over in that game at 71. I like over 71.
Oh God, you like over 71? I don't like over 71 in any game.
Yeah. Well, they've got it up.
All right, you got Wake. No, who you got to win? Pitt,
and then over in that game.
Pitt. What? How many points Pitt getting or giving?
They're giving 3.
Give it 3.
Now,
over 73, over 71.
One of my favorite games of the week is Iowa +11 against Michigan.
I like that too.
And there's a reason for that big line. Everybody.
Iowa's offense is horrible.
Iowa's offense is horrible because they got a good defense. The over-under that game is only 43, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
That's not many.
That's the lowest I've ever seen for a championship game, 43. But
you like it over?
I was going to hang in there. Well,
do you like the game over?
No.
43.
If I do anything, it'd be under on that game.
Yeah, okay.
All right, the
All
last
right, you going to touch USC Cal?
No. That's a dumpster fire.
Okay.
I don't know why that game's even being played.
It's a makeup game.
COVID makeup.
That's the only game that was canceled. Or it wasn't even canceled. It was postponed. The only COVID postponement we had this year was that game. Compare and contrast to last year.
And that is Southern Cal and who?
California.
Cal.
I'll make this point too, that the number of cases was even higher this year than last year. But so there you go.
That's going to be a pretty good game right there.
Yeah, but
evenly
just think how many
matched
people had
teams.
the vaccine, though, compared to last year. That was the difference. They
All
could
right.
be canceled because so many people had the shot.
Well, I know, but it was still just
yeah.
it was cases.
Everybody be betting on that game because they wouldn't have taken my advice on the other games.
Yeah.
And they'll be trying to get some back there at the end. But the game doesn't start till 10 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
Who else you got, Will?
Who's Will got in that game?
He's not picking that
I'm
game.
not picking that game.
Okay.
Utah State is playing San Diego State, and San Diego State's -6, and I'm going to go with San Diego State. They've been playing great. I like them.
But both of them have been playing great. Of course, our AD.
San Diego State is a 6-point favorite, so San Diego State.
I like San
Okay.
Diego State.
Given the San Diego State.
I don't even know
Coached by former Michigan coach Freddie Hoke.
Yeah. He
who
wasn't there.
coaches Utah State.
Blake Anderson, you
Yeah.
coached Arkansas State.
That's right. And how many points did he get, Mike?
6.
Ooh, I tell you, I sort of like.
A lot of people have been mentioning John Hartwell as possibly a candidate for the Florida State athletic director's job that's coming open.
Boy, that would be a big job, wouldn't it? He right now is the athletic director at San Diego State. No, excuse me.
No, Utah State.
Utah State. I'm sorry.
Done a great job.
You know what is Troy waiting for on this coaching search? I mean, I was telling a lot of buddies yesterday, and you got to think Troy is waiting for a coach coaching this weekend.
Of course they
That's the only thing you can think that why they hadn't hired a coach yet. With all the candidates that have been mentioned as the top choices, every single one of those guys could have been hired immediately. And we're going on.
Yeah, I know.
When it's Sunday, it's going to be 2 weeks since Troy fired Chip Lindsey.
All right, I look at it like this. I think we've got some coaches are waiting. They are waiting for the results. You know what I'm saying? Whether instead of we're waiting on them, they're waiting. They're the one doing the waiting.
I mean, I don't know how a pro coach can get out of a contract. I don't know, like if it was Derek Ansley, the San Diego Chargers secondary coach. I don't know how that works in the NFL. If it was Jeremy Pruitt, he's a coach for the New York Giants. I don't know how that works in the pros. Like, I mean, if you can get out of a contract in the middle of the season or not.
Michael, all those guys are on 1-year contracts, and they get paid by the week. And so if they leave, they just forego the rest of their checks. But they get a check every week.
Let me just tell you.
Other candidates for the job are Dale McGee, former Auburn player, Georgia running back coach is a name I keep on hearing for the Troy job. Charles Kelly now is in the mix. I'm hearing out of Ozark.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Will? Will, did you hear that?
He's in the mix.
I didn't know anything about that, Mike.
But I'm just saying, there's coaches coaching this weekend that could be possible, head coaching candidates at Troy.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know if these guys, have to get to the SEC championship before they could even interview, or before they can take the job. I don't know how it works.
Let me just say this: Banks, Alabama, is the home of who?
The East.
Banks, Alabama, is the home of who?
Philip
I mean, Bryce just said it.
Who?
Philip East.
Bryce just said it.
And then his daughter that's married to Jeremy Pruitt.
That's right.
Her name is Casey, I think.
His wife is from Banks, Alabama. Let's just say that. And I wonder if that would make anybody cringe about the job.
His name's come up.
And would you think he's a reputable candidate, Mike?
They'd have to get the McDonald's, build a new McDonald's to funnel the money for it.
Yeah. I've got a feeling. I've got sort of a feeling that, but he would have already called and taken it, though, wouldn't he? Or where's he coaching now?
Well, he also has this cloud of NCAA matters hanging over his head at Tennessee, and I don't think the athletic directors want to deal with that.
Get a show call.
Oh no, that comes out when they finally pass a verdict, and they haven't got to that point yet.
You know, people are probably saying, "Well, he was good enough for Tennessee. Why wouldn't he be good enough for Troy?" You know, it would might be a pretty good look at right there.
Mike, he's damaged good.
Do you feel like that way? Okay.
Oh yeah, you don't need anybody like that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what he was in for.
Oh, they were giving.
Well, I mentioned Chan Gailey. We talked for 45 minutes yesterday about Mike Turk. I don't know if we moved the needle on Mike Turk at all. I hope we did.
I tell you,
at least that he gets considered.
I'll tell you right now who Mike.
I guess Patrick Nix is not getting the job. He got beat pretty bad last night in the state championship game. He was going to bring Bo Nix down to be the starting quarterback, and then his son was going to be one of the top prospects in the state.
What was that
Jack
score,
State's
Mike?
got Rich Rod. I mentioned Mike Shula. Nobody ever mentions. What about Gene Chiswick? I'm just throwing out some.
Mike, who did he lose to?
I'm talking about Patrick Nix. It's not. I guess he's not going to get the Troy job and bring Bo Nix down to start quarterback.
Yeah, he lost to Thompson last night. Is that right?
I guess Troy should hire the Thompson coach.
Yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he? He's pretty good.
Mark Freeman.
Yeah, Mark Freeman.
I can't believe Josh Niblett going to sit there at Hoover and never get into college coaching. That shocks me.
Did you know what? That program at Thompson's been so dominant. You know, I would almost take a shot at him. I really do. He might be one of the next great coaches out there. Mark Freeman.
He's an older guy. He's like in the 60s. I mean, not 60s, but probably in the 50s at least.
I said that Troy University baseball should go after Pike Rhodes, formerly Pike LeBlanc's high school baseball coach, and I still think that would have been.
Mike, do some information on this. Tell everybody about this coach.
Thompson won 38-22. So actually, Central came back a little bit.
Yeah. But Mike, give us some information about Mark Freeman.
Oh, I mean, he used to be at Daphne. He coached down in Mobile for a long time, and then he ended up being the head coach at Thompson. He's won 3 straight 7A state championships in a row.
Well, you know, part of it is if you got the Jimmies and Joes, and he's had the Jimmies and Joes. Doesn't he have that linebacker that is on tape that I've seen? He's the #1 prospect in Alabama. He looks like a high school version of Lawrence Taylor.
Well, something that I was impressed with is, like he said, they lost their everything quarterback, Connor Harrell, and he did not play in the game. And here comes the backup quarterback, Zach Sims, who threw 2 touchdowns, and Harrell.
Who was from? Wasn't Tua's little brother from Thompson?
Yeah, he played Thompson.
Mike, what you talking about? The Troy coach? I think Troy will have a coach next week.
Well, I hope so.
I mean, what are they waiting on, though?
Because I'll tell you what.
Every transfer in the country, every recruit in the country is going to go to another school. It's absolutely ridiculous that you don't hire a coach by now.
Well, Michael, you can't hire a coach that's still coaching.
I know, but I'm just saying 2 weeks are going to go by since the coach got fired. And every other school in the country is going to have transfers that are leaving schools left and right. I mean, this is the time you got to recruit.
Well, the transfer. Yeah, the transfers.
But you know, sometimes you know, you look at a football coach and people say, well, he's got to be up the level a lot more than we were as a high school guy. But hey, you know, that high school guy might become another Nick Saban. You know.
Man, there's all kind of former high school guys that are tearing it up in college.
I like my Tom Herman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, tell us about Tom Herman, Mike.
I mean, I just feel like he would be a coach that would be a slam dunk hire if you could get it. I just don't know if he'd come to Troy.
I think that would be too much of a fall for him to take the Troy job.
You're right. Tom Herman is a former Texas coach, and at one time,
all his great teams were at Houston, though.
But at one time, he was considered the hottest the hottest coach in college football, other than somebody like Saban.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd tell you a little bit about him, and he wants a job. He wants a
Well, now
job.
it's the Cincinnati coach, and it used to be the Iowa State coach. And I was listening to the radio on the way in, and I thought for sure Notre Dame would get either the Iowa State coach or the Cincinnati coach, but they were throwing out some other name of somebody I'd never heard of for the Notre Dame job.
Well, they've already hired a coach, Bill.
They have?
Yes.
Who?
They hired, all right, they hired their defensive coordinator who's 35 years old.
Okay.
He's
Got to Notre Dame now?
Yes, they've already hired him.
They hired Marcus Freeman. That was in Cincinnati last year.
Yeah.
Oh my God! What a unbelievable job he got.
But listen to this. You know how he got the job?
Because Luke Fickle was going to take it.
Well, no. He got the job because all the players at Notre Dame went to the athletic director's house 2 days ago and demanded they hire Marcus Freeman or they fix to leave school.
Oh, my
They're
God.
fixing to go the portal route.
Yeah.
aren't they?
I heard he's the leading candidate. That hadn't been official.
Michael's already been hired, and the guy that played quarterback at Notre Dame, the offensive coordinator, that was part of the deal. He would stay at Notre Dame if Marcus Freeman got the job.
It says sources on ESPN says Freeman favored to be the Irish head coach, not official.
Well, and I already got it. So, you know.
Well,
That's the name they were mentioning on the radio show I heard, but it didn't sound like it was
ladies and gentlemen,
official, and it also sounded like they were ready to move fast.
That is a crazy rush hire.
well, let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen.
Guy's never been a head coach in his life.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first on Today in L.A. with Mike Amos.
Well, it's not official yet.
Oh, I tell you.
But that is the.
You can't let players dictate like that.
But that's the leverage they have.
That stuff to me is ridiculous.
Oh boy, this is fun though. This is fun to talk about.
But but with this transfer portal, it used to be if these players did this, they'd have to sit out a year. Now they could all in unison go to the president of the university and say, we ain't playing unless you hire this guy. He said, well, I ain't hiring this guy. And they say, okay. Well, they've all got, every one of them can transfer and be playing next year. So it's quite an intriguing scenario that has emerged.
There is a precedent for this. And it was at the University of Buffalo. There's a precedent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nate Oates was with the guy that played at Duke,
That's right.
Bobby Hurley.
That's right.
And Bobby Hurley got hired in Arizona State.
Uh-huh.
And he was taking Nate Oates with him. Nate Oates was assistant coach at Buffalo. And they had 4 or 5 people want the job. The players demanded they hire Nate Oates or they were leaving, every one of them.
Wow. Good.
You know what? He hired him.
And it worked out.
5 years he was at Buffalo. He won 4
That's at Buffalo, though.
Well, that's good. That is a precedent.
It's a precedent. And then Nate Oates is now at Alabama. You couldn't. I tell you what. You talking about the best hire in history was that guy at Alabama. He had turned that place around.
I agree. Yeah.
Well,
Before that, it was.
Is Alan Mike DeBose got the job and Collins got upset with the athletic director and wanted to resign?
Yeah, then Alabama had a terrible athletic director, but you kind of can't blame him because there was this massive campaign among the alumni to hire Mike DuBose. They all sent faxes in, allegedly.
Yeah.
And so you hired a guy that had 1 year as a defensive coordinator, and that really wasn't even that great a year. And the rest is history.
It is 8 o'clock, and ladies and gentlemen, this show brought to you by Troy Bank and Trust Company, the only bank you'll ever need. We'll be back in just a moment.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Join us live to watch your local Christmas parades on November 30th at 6:30 p.m. in Enterprise, Alabama, December 6th at 6 p.m. in Troy, Alabama, December 7th at 6 p.m. in Ozark, Alabama, and December 9th at 6 p.m. in Luverne, Alabama, on Troy Cable Channel 2.
I'd hired Pickle in Notre Dame, and Freeman, who was defense coordinator at Cincinnati, could go back to Cincinnati.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and I was surprised that I would think Fickle has got one of the best 3 or 4 jobs in America. I don't know why they even mention him. He's got a great job.
At Cincinnati?
No, I talk about. He was talking about the guy at Ohio State. I can't see him wanting a job.
No, I'm talking Luke Fickle, the Cincinnati coach.
Oh, okay. He's always been one of my top picks. I thought he'd get the Notre Dame job.
The top 2 candidates for the West Virginia job when they hired Neil Brown was Neil Brown and Luke Fickle.
Yeah, and they took Neil Brown. Will, are you still on?
Yes,
All right, on to here. Yours real. Let's go down the line and see what we got.
I can roll it down, I hope.
All right, Mike, tell him what he's got.
Yeah, Saints +5. Texas San Antonio +3, Oregon +2.5, Baylor +5.5, Kent State -3, App State -3, Houston +11, Bama +6.5, Pittsburgh -3 over the 71 against Wake Forest, Iowa +11, and San Diego State -6. Will's going a lot of underdogs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the last one was what?
San Diego State -6.
-6. Okay, and that's Will.
Montgomery Academy 11-3 against Piedmont today. Will be at 11 a.m. All these games are at Protective Life Stadium in Birmingham.
That's to my knowledge, Rice. Now you can help me here. Is this first time Montgomery Academy has played for the state championship?
No, they won one in 1987.
1987.
Where it was. Remember, Hamp Green was their star running back that later was a kicker at Alabama.
That's right.
His daddy was a doctor.
That's right.
And I wrote a story about that team. Looking back, I remember I went to some games. Rush was courting Marty, and he's a Montgomery Academy grad. And I remember going and watching some games. That was a great MA team. I think they were 1A back then. They only had 3 classifications.
Phil, Dr. Hamp Green won the Ozark Invitational 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
no, great. You're right. A great amateur golf, and his son is he is now a minister at the Big Top Dog at the Church of the Highlands organization.
Oh, is he? Okay.
But he was
Sweetwater against Wadley today too.
I'll take Sweetwater. Give me Sweetwater.
But if Montgomery Academy wins, that'll be the first time in 33 years they've won the state championship in football.
Now let me tell you something. Sweetwater might have 15 people. No, they might have. They probably have less than 500 people in their community, and every one of them are probably going to be at that game.
Sweetwater Sweetwater's won the state championship in 2017, 2010, 2008, 2007, 2006, 2004. 1986, 1982, 1979, 1978. So if they win the state championship today, that will be 11 state
Isn't
championships.
that unreal? You talking about doing a story? That would be somebody to do a story on. That is
Well, who's
unreal.
won more? I mean, who has won the most in the last, say, 50 years? That's a good question. Might be Sweetwater.
Now, you can see if you can get the population of downtown Sweetwater, please.
Okay.
You're getting
I
Sweetwater, Alabama.
I have never been to Sweetwater, Alabama. I bet you
I've been
have.
through it. I've been on. It's right next to Coffeyville, and Coffeyville had one of the all-time greats in college coaching. That was
You've been everywhere, man. Have you ever played that game? It's a good card game. Everybody plays Piggy Punch or Cow Poker, but you can also play a game called Ghosts, where you name a town, and then the next person has to name a town that starts with the last letter of the town you named.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, if I said Troy, and Mike was going next, he would have to give me a city. You can say in the country or in your state that starts with a Y.
Oh, it starts with a Y.
That's kind of tough.
Yeah.
It says that the population of Sweetwater is 228.
228. Hee-haw!
Yeah.
Hee-haw! 222 people, and they're playing for a state championship.
It's a town in Marengo County, Alabama. The town is 24 miles south of Linden. The community was founded during the 1840s. Was named for Sweetwater Creek.
And you know, something else unusual, they wear those Michigan helmets. They look just like Michigan. And one of the very few high schools that does that.
But we've all heard of Sweetwater because of their great football team.
But isn't that amazing?
Well, I can. Here's a town that starts with a Y, and in there are York, Alabama.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right. York would
Then
girl from York, Alabama.
That's right.
So then, if we're playing Ghosts, then the next person has to name a town that starts with a K.
We ought to be able to find that.
Kinston.
You're right, Kinston.
So it's a fun game. Then you get an N. So there's a lot of towns with it.
New
Yeah.
Brockton. All right, keep going. Let's see what we.
You know who was great at that game, and we played it with him sometime, was Coach Bradshaw. Charles was my best friend. You couldn't beat Coach Bradshaw because think of all the people he'd recruited in all these little towns.
All right, let's keep going. Let's see what we can do.
New Brockton.
Brockton.
Another N, I'll say New York City. Are we doing Alabama or just
Newbern is a town called Newbern. Okay.
But New York City gets you another Y, which is a tough one.
Oh, we're going.
Is there anywhere with a D? I know it's Zion Chapel Hospital, but it's not.
That's right. Zion Chapel would be maybe the only one.
Zion Chapel an actual town there?
Yeah.
Or is it Jack? Or do they call it Jack, Alabama?
Well, maybe so. Maybe so. They might call it Jack.
That's a good question,
Chapel
too.
High School.
I mean, if it ain't Zion Chapel, I mean, and then you would get to Zion Chapel by somebody you would hit them with Boaz, and then they would have to say, So there's some strategy in this game.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't know if we've got any more X's. I don't know if we got any more X's out there.
I mean, there's a new box and an old box, South Dakota.
And what do you do when you get to an end?
I thought we were just talking about places in Alabama.
Well, you can do it either way. I mean, you could, it'd make it much harder to do Alabama, but you could do United States of America.
And given a limited time to remember, the
next time we go on one of our adventures, we'll play.
I'll tell you this. You're talking about Wadley. I used to go officiate basketball over at Southern Union Junior College in Wadley. And so many times I've looked over to the guy I was riding with or whatever, and I said, you got to go to Wadley. And it was out in the middle of nowhere, but Wadley.
You got to be wanting to go to Wadley.
Wadley's the home of a great junior college.
I've never been to Wadley, but I thought of the game Ghost because my partner here, I just can't think of anywhere that he hadn't been.
Well, I'd like to figure out. I'd like to know.
I've never been to Wadley. I've never been to Sweetwater.
Yeah, I've been to both of them.
I've never been to Jasper.
Jasper, you got to go to Jasper on the way to Memphis. You pretty much has to go, do they?
Well, maybe
it comes. I was reading an article that said Brian Kelly's not signing for $150 million. He's only signing. I mean, not like this was bad, but $95 million. He's going to make $9.5 a year.
Wait a minute now. Where do we get the other? Just
well, that was just a rush to come out and just say it was $150 million. He's making $9.5 million is what he's going to make.
Well, and from what I gather, he only gets to take home $500,000. Is that right?
What?
You know what I'm saying? You know, they're gonna give him $500,000 in cash, something like that.
and he can go to the Beau Rivage and put it on red and make that $1 million.
So Brian Kelly's going to make $9.5. Mel Tucker's going to make $9.5.
I tell you what,
I heard that Brian Kelly was making $5 million, so he almost doubled his salary.
I tell you what, he's a fine coach. This coach at Michigan State is, but hey, he has not really paid his dues to make that kind of money.
Now the big mystery is what's Lincoln Riley going to make, because when he was at Oklahoma, he made $7.7 million. So you got to think he's going to be making $10 million.
Well, for $7.7 million, the equivalent of that in L.A. with the higher prices in real estate, everything in L.A., you'd have to make $12 million to be the. Or you're living better on $7.7 million in Oklahoma than you are on $10 million in Los Angeles.
Troy University, what is your stopping point? Hey, how long is it going to take you? I think you need to go ahead and hire your guy. So before the date for the
recruiting is December 15th through the 17th.
Okay.
National.
And wouldn't you think you should definitely have a coach before then, because the recruiting part of it, you know?
You got to have a coach in the next few days, I'd say.
And Troy might be saying, let's go the portal route. We've got these young people already. We've signed a pretty good class last year, so let's go the portal route. Maybe leave out a few now. One of them, which I think they're going to definitely leave out, is my buddy from Brantley, and he's the quarterback, Kilcrease.
Yes, Tucker Kilcrease. Brent Jones came out initially after he fired Chip Lindsey and said all 5 of the choice amendments will be honored, their scholarship.
Okay, all right, that's a good way to be. So they've got.
Regardless of who the coach is or when he's hired, I think Troy is going to go heavy into the portal. I think everybody is going to go.
That tells you there. I mean, we only had 5 commitments, so that tells you how bad it was for us guys to commit to Troy at the time. I mean, 5 guys is pretty really very low number.
That is.
Guys, listen to this. I was looking at Brian Kelly's contract, and this.
And he's our attorney. This is our attorney talking.
Yeah, this is his contract. He gets $8.8 million.
Okay.
The first year.
First year.
It goes up each year $500,000.
That's where I got the $500,000. Okay.
All right. Now it increases. His base salary will be $9.6 million his last year, but it goes up $500,000 every time, so it's going to be way over that. He also gets bonuses every time LSU makes a bowl. $500,000.
Any bowl?
Any bowl.
God, that's a just go ahead and add that $500,000.
It gets even better. If he wins the SEC championship game, he gets another $250,000, and that increases his salary each year by $200,000.
Yeah.
So really, it's $2.5 million if he gets in there the first year.
Yeah.
All right, now, if he wins a national championship, he gets $500,000 bonus for the rest of his career. Plan.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Could be $5 million.
Now let me ask you this, Will.
That is interesting.
Who pays for his departure? Who pays for that?
Boosters. The university pays only $400,000 or $500,000.
I wonder what his payoff was.
Yeah, he had to buy off this other contract.
Yeah, and let me tell you another thing too. just like in that my Great Western movie with the guy's got his shotgun on his throat. Do you remember what show that was?
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven. I was building a house. I was building a house. Bang.
You like that line.
Let me say the reason I said that was Kelly was building a house.
All right, now listen to this, man. It gets even better. If he is fired without cause, his contract is 90% guaranteed.
Oh boy, that is
Okay.
unreal.
He's also got playoff bonuses for,
So
I would
he
think
is
that-
going. This 8.8 he's starting off with. That is just a tiny fraction of what he'll actually make.
he'll make much more than that.
Well,
Well,
good for him.
he-
Good for him and his family.
I tell you what, I heard his interview, and hey, he's the real deal. I can tell as far as a person. I really believe that he'll be a dominant type guy.
He's got a clause in there if his team has good grades, he gets a bonus.
Oh gosh, they were talking. I heard their president, and I don't know. He sounded like a young guy, but he had quite a few remarks to make. He went all the way back to the beginning of football at Notre Dame. It tickled me.
Who's the LSU president?
Yeah, the LSU president.
Thanks, Mike. He also has a jet for personal use.
Anytime they want it.
50 hours of personal use on the jet, and unlimited use for the university.
You want to hear something crazy I just read? Bob Stoops is coming out of retirement to coach Oklahoma in the bowl game. The Oklahoma board of trustees
They want him.
is going to pay Bob Stoops $325,000 to coach that game.
Yeah. Well, that's
One
nice.
game.
Yeah.
$325,000 to coach one game.
I tell you what, it's not the way that they're throwing money away. I thought it might be more. You know.
You don't think they're going to go
I'll tell
after
you
him
right
and ask
now.
him to come back and keep coaching too?
You're right. I can't believe that they don't want him as a coach. He's just 61 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, 61. That's what I heard.
61.
That's
so,
young.
Boy. Of course, our show is brought to you by the Southeast Alabama Gas District, located in Andalusia, Alabama. Greg and all the great people down there have been a great support of our show for a long time, and we appreciate it. And Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Ram trucks. And let me tell you what, Rice, they've got another huge sale going on right now. You just call them up or drop by there and see them. But I picked it up
Sure
this morning, and all I got is this right here. Rice, tell me what I got.
Save $10,000 on new Ram 1500s or a new Jeep Grand Cherokee.
That's
Wow.
a super deal.
Over 120 used cars, SUVs, and trucks. $2.5 million in inventory. $29 down. $99 per
That's
month.
the unreal deal right there.
Pre-owned vehicles starting at $2,995. So that's used cars starting below $3,000.
And that's going to be the...
Go see them.
No question about it. Remember the city of Troy's Christmas parade and the city of Brunage's Christmas parades are coming up, and we be excited about that. The Sound of the South to lead that parade, and that's quite a nice gesture on their part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, most all we are talking about is stipulation, but it's a lot to talk about. And
Troy's live on Channel 2, and we'll have Brunage's live on
yeah,
TV.
but what day on Troy's?
I think it's Monday.
Monday. Yeah, I got you.
We'll have Brunage and Troy.
Guys, y'all have a good one. I got to get to work.
Do you know what time it is?
See, Will. Thanks for the picks.
30, I think?
Yeah.
Not sure.
You know, our guy up top, his name is Dustin Gilly. Now, isn't that a great name?
Yes.
And that quarterback, Dustin Gilly, one of my good
Yeah,
buddies.
I like
He's
him.
the one that makes this program go this morning. And Steve, we're
What happened to you? Remember the biggest honky tonk in the world was said to be Gillies in
That's
Houston,
right.
Texas.
That's right.
Where they filmed the movie, one of my favorite movies, Urban Cowboy.
That's right.
You ever seen that movie?
Yeah, no, that was.
Everybody's seen 50.
See, I love Deborah Winger. I had a crush on her, buddy.
All right, who starred in the
John Travolta was Bud.
Yeah,
he was real good. Who would have thought that John Travolta
the
could?
main guy was Scott Glenn.
Yeah.
Was the bad guy. I've seen that movie probably 30 times.
So you got good taste. It's an underrated movie, isn't it? The music's great. The some good lines. It's a good little movie.
I just can't help but laugh.
John Travolta is a legendary actor, and then what he did later in his career too, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, he did Grease, Urban Cowboy, and Saturday Night Fever right early in his career. That's a pretty strong start right there, buddy.
What was our guy on the horse? The great our great actor.
Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, no, not Clint Eastwood. No. Oh shoot.
The guy on the horse. That's hard to determine.
No, that's lit up. Lit up.
Electric Horseman.
Yeah, that's right.
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford. Oh, the Electric Horseman. You remember that?
Yeah, with Jane Fonda. That was a good movie.
That was good.
He stole the prize thoroughbred horse and freed him because he'd been all doped up.
I thought it was a good show too. But my favorite show, of course, there's two of them. Mike, tell me who they are. Here at Christmas.
Home Alone and Christmas Vacation.
Well, Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, and then Christmas Vacation just right behind it. I catch myself laughing, but those movies, all three of them, make me laugh, and I like that.
Good. Yeah, good. I'm glad they do.
Well, of course, I tell you what, one of the great places to eat now is at Sisters, and they're wide open, going strong. And if you want to order your dressing, you better go ahead and do it. I tell you,
for Christmas.
I know they had over 300 gallons of dressing that they had.
Yes, how about that?
This Thanksgiving. And
we still got a lot of it left. My God, they give you so much if you order dressing.
Well, that's great. It's great.
More you can eat.
I wish I had some.
I tell you what, dressing is good when it's moist. I don't let dressing dry out, and it is always good from Sisters, I tell you.
That's one of my favorite little side dishes, dressing.
Yeah. Sisters has a great squash casserole too.
Oh yeah, no question about it. And you can order those things from Sisters. Just call out there and order them for Christmas. And especially make sure. And I'll tell you what, Mrs. Lee, if Mrs. Max Lee, if you're watching, your Italian cream cake was fabulous. And I think I might. Other than Mike, did you get many bites of that?
No, I don't think the chocolate pecan pie.
But let me tell you this: her Italian cream cake is the best cake I've ever eaten, bar none. It is moist throughout, and that goes back to any cake. If it's not moist, it's not good, in my opinion.
I agree, and I love it. I don't eat enough of them, but I need to get one from Mrs. Lee.
I tell you what, it is wonderful.
She probably doesn't make them for everybody. You have to be a good friend.
She might make you one if I ask her, maybe, if she got some ingredients left. And I know this, I enjoy it. And of course, we've got a lot of great
I'll put in a good
there.
word about her son, Danny.
Yeah, that's right. He's one of my best friends. He's a good guy.
I can remember when he was played quarterback at Charles Henderson against Enterprise High School once. I think he really wasn't the quarterback, but he was such a good athlete that they put him in. Like Mark Davis must have got hurt.
Mike, let me just say this: Aaron Rodgers might be playing his best football ever, and I tell you what, he's got Green Bay on a real high spot right now.
I like
all
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
I did not like Will's pick of the Saints against Dallas tonight. The Saints are awful right now.
And Dallas needs to beat somebody and beat some bad. You're right. But Mari
Cooper's coming back for Dallas too. He hadn't played the last two games. He didn't get the vaccine, so he had to miss 2 games. And that's the Cowboys'
question about it. Want to mention Goshen.
What is that in the NFL when they miss 2 games because of COVID? Is that taken out of their paycheck, right? How's that work?
That's a good question. I don't think they could. I mean, it's these silly protocols. You know, if you're vaccinated, you had to miss all this time, but if you were unvaccinated, you have to miss up to 14 days. But if you were vaccinated, you could be right back in a couple of days. It's discrimination, I think. He was fine, asymptomatic the whole time.
I want to mention Terry Anderson, a good friend of mine, died this past week. And boy, you're talking about a good young player in baseball. He was a good one, boy, growing up. And great guy, Homer Anderson's son. And our thoughts and prayers are with him.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to.
Of course,
that's my neighbor Connie's brother. Then.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm so sorry, Connie.
Of course, we're going to. Of course, it's 8:26, and we're ready to go off the air. But the drama continues in college football, and of course, some of it's been satisfied by all their alumnus all over the country.
Well, the jobs we got open left, you got Oklahoma, which is a huge job. Notre Dame looks like they're about to land their candidate. It's not official yet, even though Will said it was. So those are your 2 big ones.
Mike, I want to say something before you get off this. Fickle would be a wonderful fix for Oklahoma. He would be perfect.
No, I could see him at Notre Dame before Oklahoma.
You don't think so? All right, go ahead.
Well, he's a Midwest Ohio State guy. That's where he played. I mean, I could see Notre Dame before that, but Louisiana Lafayette jobs open, the Troy jobs open. There's a few more jobs open, but I guess we're gonna see something after this weekend at Troy.
Yeah.
You think you would have heard an announcement for a press conference?
It makes me want to think somebody's holding out. Somebody is holding out. It makes me want to think that, the way this is being moved, that we're waiting on somebody. We're waiting on somebody. That's just what it looks like from here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I still say the number 1 guy on the list, Mike, is my good buddy.
From that's at Kentucky?
Yep, and of course he's a very good one. He would be a very good choice.
Well, I would hope that they would consider Mike Turton, but I don't know if that's seriously being considered.
I would not go against it 1 iota. I would not.
But they could have hired him too.
If Mike Turton, he'd already be the coach.
Yep.
But another thing too, though, he would light this town on fire. I'm telling you, he would. He would be a great choice by the people of Troy.
Well, you would have a coach that you might have for 10 years.
Yeah. And a good one, no question about it. Of course, time will tell, and of course, we'll see. Let's just say this: it's going to be an announcement made very soon, hopefully. And our university knows what it's doing, and they know a lot more than I know. But it's been fun to speculate.
You gotta get somebody in there recruiting in the transfer portal. That's my only concern about this. I feel like you've got to get somebody in there sooner rather than later.
Jacksonville just hired what's his name, Mike?
Rich Rodriguez.
I bet he jumps all over this portal deal, don't you think?
Well, he'll have the advantage of being able to get a lot of guys in school at a 1AA program like Jacksonville State. He'll be able to get a lot of guys in that a lot of people probably can't. That will make a difference when they do have to jump up.
That's right. Because they've got athletes.
Georgia Southern took advantage of that. App State took advantage of that. And they were successful as soon as they started.
I'm sort of glad Jacksonville's not in our league because they're going to be tough.
Now everybody can do that, though. It used to be that was why Troy got all those great transfers from Auburn. Is because when you went down the classification, you could play immediately. But now you can play immediately going anywhere.
Play anywhere. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. Our picket shows tomorrow, and we're going to pick these games and see how we come out compared to my buddy Will Matthews. Have a good day.
A personal touch,